calling it a war if you want to help.
Okay,
You
so
get my meaning?
I think I do. So I'll just drop it.
You can recognize that there are differences, and many of which may be based on negative and fear-based beliefs, and certainly you can help with that. But calling it a war, doesn't that take it in the negative direction? Doesn't that reinforce the negativity?
Yes, I see how it does.
All right. So by all means, you can educate, you can raise consciousness, you can allow perspective to shift by creating new definitions, new ways to understand relationships. Yes?
That sounds fun and creative.
Well, yes, that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
How can anything, in any way, shape, or form, choose to change if you don't give it the option to change instead of reinforcing the negative idea? Yes?
Got it. I got it.
Does that help?
It's beginning to help, yes. Thank you.
Anything else?
And yes, so the fact is there is a rape culture on this planet.
There is a what?
Oh, nothing. Excuse me. We're all having a great time as men and women.
Now, first and foremost, when you talk about the idea of between the sexes, men and women, you do know you have more genders than that, yes?
That's true. There's a continuum, isn't it?
Kind of, yes.
Okay.
Therefore, you have a lot more to work with here. A lot more flexibility, a lot more malleability in how you describe these things, how you discuss these things, how you offer different perspective of these things, yes?
Got it. So it's limiting to think of us as being born into just male or female bodies.
Well, yes. There may be purposes for that, but the purposes may not be what you think.
So why does it
Does this give you a richer tapestry to work with?
It's definitely giving me a richer
Why does what
tapestry.
seem what?
So why does it still seem like there's a culture of domination?
Because it's fear-based, as I just told you. Remember, people who are not fear-based don't need to express domination.
Okay.
Remember that when you express the idea of attempting to dominate, that means you don't believe you actually have any power. Because if you really know you have power, what would be the point of dominating? You're already as powerful as you need to be to create whatever reality you prefer. If you have to dominate, you're saying you're powerless. I don't have any other way of creating what I prefer other than trying to control my reality and other people's reality and force them into this idea that makes me feel safe. You understand?
Yes.
Because if they haven't been given the tools to get in touch with their own self-empowerment, they're going to feel powerless, and that scares them. And therefore, they're in denial of that because it scares them to even look at it. And therefore, they have to project outwardly onto others the idea of their fear. Because please remember, again, paradoxically, people who are in denial of the fact that they have fear-based beliefs are also in denial that they're in denial. Yes?
Yeah.
That's the negative reinforcement from the negative belief, is you have to be in denial that you're in denial so that you won't look at those things. And therefore, the only avenue of escape you have is to project it outward onto others and attempt to gain what you think is control outwardly instead of understanding you already have control inwardly. So, eliminating fear-based beliefs, getting people in touch with the fact that they're already as powerful as they need to be to manifest whatever they truly need in life without having to hurt themselves or anyone else in that process, then you'll have a different world. Then you'll have a balanced world. Yes? It's all about the idea of fear-based beliefs, belief in things like lack. You understand? And beliefs in all sorts of other things that are out of alignment with your true frequency, your true nature.
So I imagine that I, like everybody else in this room here right now, wants to make a positive impact on our world and help
You
us.
want to reveal the positive impact you're already having.
Oh, wow.
You
Help
already have
us
impact
reveal.
as much as you ever will have, but the actions you take reveal the impact that's already there. That's the difference. Does that make sense?
Touches me deeply to hear.
Yes. Just be yourself, and it will reveal all the impact you're already having. You see, none of you are really aware, nor do you always need to be aware of the impact that you already have on others just by your existence. It's profound. All you need to do is take the actions that are in alignment with your passion to begin to reveal the impact you're already having. Does that help you?
It does. And what it also brings up is a question. I work in the field of sacred sexuality.
Yes.
And I work with men and women who have been raped and have had sexual violence done to them.
All right, well, how exciting for you to give them an opportunity to find a path through that experience that will benefit them and empower them.
I see. So it's not about denying their perception that there's rape out there.
No. Understand, the idea is it's not about in any way, shape, or form excusing perpetrators. It's about taking responsibility for the fact that you may have had beliefs about yourself that then were reflected by someone else to you about issues of lack of self-worth.
Wow, that's a hard pill to swallow for somebody.
That's a belief.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Now, I understand that that's not normally the way people on your planet think of these things, but it requires the idea of an accelerated consciousness to realize it's not about blame, it's not about fault, it's not about excusing a perpetrator, because it's the perpetrator's duty to get in touch with their own self-empowerment and not be attracted by someone who may be playing a victim role.
Got it.
Because remember, both the perpetrator and what you call the victim are victims, because it takes a victim to make a victim. So a chain has been created where abuse creates abusive people. Yes?
Yes.
So it's about breaking the chain and having the compassion to understand, again, not excusing a perpetrator, but seeing deep within to understand that they are in a great deal of pain. That's why they're lashing out at other people, why they're attempting to dominate and control. And it is having the compassion not only for yourself, to remove yourself from victimhood and victimization by claiming your own responsibility for your own reality, at least to the point where you may recognize there are positive ways to realize how to transform that experience for yourself, and maybe even transform it in a way that you can reach out to those that perpetrated it and help them transform too, thus breaking the chain.
Thank you.
So in a sense, those that may appear to be victims at first can actually be the most powerful agents of change for those who function as perpetrators. You follow?
Yes. I am really locked in this perception that gender is dual, that there's men and women, and I hear you saying there's more than those two genders.
Well, there is, and we understand that that seems to be the dominant way it's expressed on your planet, and that's fine in general as an overall illustration.
Okay.
But it doesn't take in the finer points of the spectrum that exists. And of course, you have to understand there are, on other planets, many other expressions of the idea of gender that are completely unlike what you experience. Therefore, you have to know that your spirit contains the probability of all of those expressions, even though it may only seem to be expressing it in a few limited ways.
Fantastic. So I'm imagining if I'm working with a couple, say, well, any couple, that it's not so much a matter of them inhabiting male or female bodies. It's more like they're these two puzzle pieces.
In a sense, but I
And-
would start first by exploring with them as deeply as you can what they actually believe to be true about themselves in terms of general gender energy.
Oh.
Because even though someone may look female and look male to your eyes, they may actually be expressing within themselves a multitude of different ways of expressing gender energy if they're willing to be honest about the different ways in which they experience themselves when that subject comes up for them.
Wow, that could get pretty complicated because
It can get complex. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Because there seems to be a lot of confusions about what is masculine and what is feminine.
Exactly, but the idea of the confusion can lead to a greater understanding that the terms may actually be able to be dissolved in ways you haven't imagined before, or maybe expanded in ways you haven't imagined before. What does it really mean on your planet to be male? What does it really mean on your planet to be female? In fact, what does it really mean on your planet to be human at all? Because most of you aren't yet. You're becoming more human, but you're actually not human yet.
You just kind of dissed us all, didn't you, right now? In a playful way.
You need to understand how labels limit you.
Okay.
Be an explorer and understand that the space that you're exploring is far vaster than you think. Drop the boundaries for now and see what comes up. That will allow people to operate much more flexibly within themselves when it's all right in their minds for them to express gender in a variety of different ways, and even what it means to be a gender. There are civilizations where there is no gender at all. Let me describe one to you.
Okay.
We are aware of a life form on a planet that sort of builds itself. All the components look the same. You could loosely describe every single one of the components, the living components, as being kind of like a large, thin worm or snake-like organism. Now, it doesn't exactly look like a worm or a snake, but that's the general shape of it. In certain conditions, they actually come together and attach to each other in ways that builds a mobile creature. But they all, in a sense, are genderless. And yet, when they come together in certain ways, then they become a kind of gender temporarily to do what they need to do to reproduce, but it's still not reproduction in the way you understand it. And if they choose to break apart, they are again genderless. Do you follow? So they literally build the genders as they need them, but even the genders they build as they need them, like a set of building blocks, aren't even genders as you understand them.
So what's the purpose of taking on a gender in that culture?
To express a certain purpose for a certain experience, but again, those experiences may be completely foreign to the way you understand the expression of gender. All we simply mean is there may be a trait that now becomes more dominant in them, that is dominant for a particular reason temporarily, and it may have to do with the perpetuation of the species, maybe, in certain ways, but it's still nothing like gender as you understand it.
Thank you. I won't pretend to understand that all.
Oh,
but
all
I,
right.
Yeah, I
Nevertheless,
have a sense of
all we're simply attempting to say is the basic building block of your being is either genderless or contains all possible genders or expressions of that concept. And the people on your planet, now that they are awakening to different levels of their consciousness, may be made up of more than two colors. Your palette has expanded now. Yes? So really look at what the colors are that any given person, no matter what they look like, may actually be painted with. Because you may see some very subtle tones there that give richness and depth and dimension to those beings far beyond the idea of simple black and white. Yes?
It sounds more artful
It is.
of an experience of life.
And therefore more representative of the way life actually expresses itself within creation.
I'm thinking about the experience of sexual ecstasy
Yes.
between two people.
Yes.
And my understanding is that requires a polarity to be there.
Well, not a polarity in the way that you necessarily experience it on your planet. There generally does need to be a resonance difference to play off of one another, but it doesn't have to exactly be what you would think of as a polarity.
Oh, a resonance
Because a resonance
difference.
difference can be used to amplify and reinforce each other in certain ways to build up to a certain point of experience. But resonance amplification doesn't exactly have to be a polarity. We can get into that in more detail at another time.
Okay, thank you so very much.
You are so very welcome.
Good day, Bashar.
And you good day.
I have a question about my childhood.
Your childhood.
Yeah.
Yes.
When I was a child, I was able to see some other entities.
Yes. This
from
is
other
quite common
dimensions.
for children who haven't yet forgotten that they can see such things.
So my question is, why did I stop having
Many
that kind of
times
experience?
because, again, you have chosen a theme, like many of you do, where you need to forget who you are so that you can rediscover and remember who you are from a new point of view. So quite often you will absorb belief systems that will temporarily shut those abilities down until you go through a certain theme of exploration and then come back full circle to then once again remembering who you are and regaining those abilities, but now from a new point of view, from a new personal experience. That's how you change, that's how you grow. You have to forget who you are so you can remember who you are or rediscover who you are from a different perspective.
Got it.
Does that help?
Yes.
Is that it?
I have another question.
Yes.
What
Speak
is
up.
my frequency level at this moment?
What is your frequency level right now?
Yeah.
157,000 cycles per second.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, Bashar.
And you good day.
I'm so excited to speak to you for
Oh,
my,
we are
my
very
first
excited
time.
to speak to you. Oh, it's our first time. What a coincidence.
Great. We're both
How
in
often does that happen?
Not often. Well, it's first impressions.
All
right?
the time, yes,
It's very
thank you.
cool. So I'm excited. Anyway, two questions ago, or people ago, she asked a question about, and you answered by saying becoming human.
Yes.
Are you talking about like Padmasambhava, becoming like a rainbow being? Is this what we're?
There have been several beings on your planet that you consider to be masters and great teachers who have expressed the idea of what it can actually mean, what it can really look like to be more fully human. Because you all have those capabilities. All the great teachers and all the great masters on your planet have had one basic message. What you see me doing, you are capable of too.
Yes.
You are all masters.
Yes. Awesome.
But the idea, therefore, is that in becoming that and in experiencing that level eventually, you become more fully what it actually means to be human.
So in other words, we keep working on our joy and our passion and keep
Yes.
and just keep working on that and
Well, yes, and working meaning having fun.
exactly. I mean that in a positive way.
And you upgrade and uplift and raise your frequency and get closer and closer and closer to an alignment with your core frequency vibration and the higher mind, and then express yourself in a truly more fully human way. What it really means to be the full expression of a human.
So basically, we've got to look at our beliefs, all of those little tiny things that sometimes are very elusive.
Well, that's their nature, the negative ones. That's their
Yes.
nature. Because again, all beliefs are designed to perpetuate themselves. Positive beliefs don't have to use tricks because what they're telling you about yourself is true. The negative beliefs have to be tricky because what they're telling you about yourself is false. Therefore, they have to use tricks and smoke and mirrors and diversion and distraction and all sorts of negative ideas to get you to be convinced to maintain those negative beliefs, because if you just see through the smoke and mirrors, you know that none of what they're saying to you is true. It's just the way they're designed to perpetuate themselves.
So we have like what, 2 or 3 different core beliefs that subjects that we might each be working on in this
Maybe.
lifetime, and then we wrap those subjects around with these other beliefs that we
Yes.
all have to kind of look at, and,
Yes.
and maybe in meditation or just through life
Whatever works.
experience, we get whopped upside the head and they go, oh my God, there I am doing that again.
Yes, you start seeing through the illusion. Yes,
Oh, this is awesome.
it is.
Yeah, I know. I have a belief that parking is easy in San Francisco, and friends of mine say that no, parking is very difficult. I said that's because you believe that parking is difficult.
Exactly.
You know, so your beliefs. So this all helps for manifestation. Is there any techniques or anything that you can?
There are an infinite number of techniques.
Simple ones that maybe you could.
There are an infinite number of simple techniques. The simplest technique is not needing a technique.
Oh, so just that's awesome. So we just live our lives, and we just
You
observe.
act on your highest passion every moment that you can, to the best you are able, taking it as far as you can until you can take it no further. You do that with absolutely zero insistence or assumption as to what the outcome ought to look like. Done!
Yay! So
And all the tools we described, and staying in a positive state, and defining everything that way based on whatever the action is you took, that's the most basic technique we can deliver to you. It is literally a description of how reality works, literally a description of the structure of existence. It is literally an instruction manual. It is not a philosophy. It's not an opinion. It's a description of how reality works. It's an instruction manual in exactly the same way that if you wanted to learn how to operate one of your machines, you would be given an instruction manual and you'd go, let's see, flip, 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 flip. Oh, number 1, press this button. Press. Ah, okay. Flip, flip, flip. Number 2, turn this lever. Ah, turn the lever. Number 3, and on and on and on. It's that literal.
And then the synchronicity just starts.
That's one of the tools.
Yeah. So
It's always happening, but you're either experiencing positive synchronicity or negative synchronicity.
Oh, interesting.
But something is being reinforced based on what you believe to be most true, most probable.
So the blessing really is when we have a negative synchronicity is to go, aha, what's going on?
Aha, the machine is working great because it's reinforcing my negative beliefs. So if the machine is reinforcing my negative belief system, and since it's just a machine and reinforces whatever I feed it, why wouldn't it reinforce my positive belief system as well? Of course it would have no reason to contradict me. It's just the mechanism.
So that's our opportunity.
There you go.
Awesome. Awesome.
Does that help?
It helps a great deal. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
All right.